Hello, A Simpler Time true crime listeners. This week, I'm so excited to share an additional episode with you. Many of you have come to find me by way of other podcasters who have shared my podcast. And so I wanted to connect you with one that is really near and dear to my heart because of the people who are behind it. Jules Thorpe and Jen Rivera are the two amazing women behind Fire Eyes Media, and they are working with the family of Jeff Anderson to investigate his suspicious death via this long-form podcast. This has been a long time in the making, and I've been following along with them on this case on the family social media. There's one called What Happened to Jeff Anderson. Go ahead and follow that over on social media platforms. I follow it on Instagram. And basically, I don't want to give too much away because they're going to get into it in this podcast, but nothing is what it seems and nobody is really cooperating. This team has been relentless in helping to find answers, and they are still at it. They've given me the opportunity to share the first episode of the series with you, so go ahead and listen to that today, then go give them a follow. The podcast is called Secrets Beyond the Sacramento River, and I'm so proud of them for the work they're doing on this, so go check it out, and I'll be back with a regular episode as well on Monday.
A 911 call in Sacramento, California was made the evening of September 9th, 2023.
Hi, dispatch. 9100. Dispatch. Just got a call from a third-party caller, and we have a vehicle that went into the water at Borden Road and River Road.
Eyewitnesses report a car on River Road inside the area known as the Delta, slowly rolling from a stop, continuing down the road, making a 90-degree left turn down an embankment, and slowly entering the Sacramento River. It wouldn't be until 4 days later, on September 13th, 2023, that rescue efforts would be made. And it's then that Jeff Anderson, a Mexican Caucasian 40-year-old male, was pulled from inside his car, from the bottom of the Sacramento River, just 500 yards from where his car entered the water.
Law enforcement officials removed Jeff's car key from the front pocket of his pants. The car's transmission is in park. The car was upside down. Jeff's body was in the back seat. Immediately, rumors began to spread that Jeff was assaulted the evening of his death. His cell phone was never recovered. However, months following Jeff's death, Jeff's social media accounts alerted his family of login attempts, password attempt changes. We have the original locations logged by Jeff's phone, but it's left us with more questions than answers. And that's all we needed to know to dive deep into Jeff's story. And here we go.
The following statement is absolutely the opinion of the podcasters and the network which represents us. The circumstances surrounding Jeff Anderson's September 9th, 2023 death should have warranted a criminal investigation by the Sacramento Sheriff's Department. Full stop. Instead, Jeff's death was tossed to the side and written off as an accident. Jeff was accused of being a freeloader. There were claims he committed suicide. And then there's the assumption that perhaps Jeff's death was a car insurance job. Could that then explain why it took 4 days to retrieve Jeff's car and his body from the bottom of the Sacramento River? After we thoroughly reviewed police reports, autopsy reports, call logs, web search history, social media messages, and severe inconsistencies, we can confidently say that Jeff Anderson deserved better.
I'm Jules.
And I'm Jen. And we're the investigative podcasting team behind Fire Eyes Media, LLC. And this case is different. This case, above any others we've immersed ourselves into, has been the most frustrating and quiet, as we learned throughout the last 2 years working with Jeff's family, that the only ones doing any real deep dives and asking investigative questions is us. But it's this realization which pulled us closer to Jeff Anderson's sister, whom we'll call Rebecca. We connected with Rebecca through social media with our work on our podcast, Missing in Hushtown. We knew we needed to help her.
So here we are, and we don't expect anyone listening to believe what we believe. And hey, we don't always know what to believe. We are researching in halls that have no echoes, only whispers which stop and start with one person's mouth to another's ears, only a few times passing through Have we been lucky enough to hear in on the conversations? People don't want to talk. The few which have, we thank you. Perhaps it's the title of the podcast, Secrets Beyond the Sacramento River. Should we not have released the title until the project was complete? Although we have heard that the word secrets has been off-putting to residents of the area and anyone who knew Jeff, we don't care. For a man whose nickname was the unofficial mayor of Elk Grove, something doesn't sit right. It's too quiet. It's too quiet. Yes, we've heard it all. Our posts have left people thinking that we're out to get them. And we say yes. To that, we say yes, we are, to a degree. If you are someone who is hiding out information, or should we say, keeping secrets, then yes. But you're actually wrong about one thing. We're not out to get you. We are out to get the truth for Jeff. You see, it was never about you.
This is a limited investigative podcast searching for answers for the essential question: what happened to Jeff Anderson? The names of some individuals have been changed to protect their identity, yet the identities are of public record. To see our sources and to find podcast assets, please visit fireeyesmedia.com. This is Chapter 1, Send Recovery.
911, what's your emergency, please? Boat 95, Boat 96, or Engine 91, confirm response to River Road in Borden.
Do you have an incident description or an updated location as to where we should be heading?
You'd be able to get some type of recovery team out here. Go ahead, clear the scene, and let the sheriff handle it for the rescue team.
Copy 9100, clearing scene, 909F to handle the rescue team. Info only, 909F advised that their Marine sergeant will be checking in the morning.
Be advised also that we unable to locate vehicles and no patients either.
We're going to take you through each aspect of this case: theory, pieces of evidence, and clues uncovered along our way. But we need to start where it all ended for Jeff, and that's on River Road.
September 9th, 2023, 9:45 p.m. It's a clear night for the community alongside the Sacramento River, a community referred to as the Delta. Although this area of the Delta is a smaller community filled with mostly agricultural land, the entire Sacramento-San Joaquin Delta is 700,000 acres of what looks like a watery maze. Two of California's largest rivers collide to form this, the Sacramento River and the San Joaquin River. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency reports, quote, "Today there are approximately 1,100 miles of levees in the Delta protecting 625 miles of protective agricultural areas and 500,000 residents in small, rural communities and urban areas," end quote. And it's in one of the rural communities in Sacramento County that we bring you to today. The audio you heard previously was from the dispatch interdepartment recordings provided to the family by the California Highway Patrol. This is not the 911 call audio. We're going to piece together the dispatch calls and the dispatch records/notes that they took while their 911 call was occurring. Then we'll read the actual witness statements given to the California Highway Patrol. Then maybe we can learn together why it took 4 days to recover Jeff from the water just 500 feet from where his car entered. Let's walk through it together.
At 9:45 p.m., an eyewitness calls 911. We've named him Stanley. The address of the call is taken and information begins to be sourced. At 9:47 p.m., Stanley reports a white sedan with its hazards on. Dispatch then documents that Stanley observes that the stalled vehicle started driving off down the levee into the river. At 9:48 p.m., the reporting party, also known as Stanley, can quote-unquote see from his R above. R means his aerial view, indicating he's located at a higher point than the vehicle. Stanley then indicates, while still on the phone with dispatch, that he's going to go check it out. At 9:49 p.m., the call is accidentally disconnected. At 9:50 p.m., dispatch gets a radio call from the Sac fire chief himself, requesting law enforcement, fire personnel, and medical. He specifically asks for his units. Now, this is not a 911 call. This is a call from the fire radio to the dispatch radio.
Fire dispatch 9100.
Fire dispatch.
Please get a call from a third-party caller that we have a vehicle that went into the water at Borden Road and River Road. Can you send out my units? Squad 92, Engine 91, and send me a medic.
954 dispatch records. Per Sac Fire, one of their units was informed by word of mouth.
9100 fire dispatch. Borden and River Road don't cross in CAD. Do you have another intersection?
Borden Road and River Road?
Dispatch then puts the call out.
Engine 91, Squad 92, Boat 96, Medic 72, Boat 95, District 91, River Road and Borden Road, Engine 91, Squad 92, Boat 96, Medic 72, Boat 95, Operations AA.
We want to make sure we all note that dispatch calls 2 boats to the scene that night, Boat 95 and Boat 96. Remember that.
9:54 p.m. dispatch logs. Vehicle now submerged in the water. Unknown if there's anybody inside the vehicle. 9:55 dispatch logs code SAG. This is a California Highway Patrol code for safety admonishment given. What is unclear is the subcode. There are many additional codes to add to the SAG, such as SAG-SD, sedan, or SV, suspect vehicle. Dispatch makes another attempt to receive confirmation from Boat 95 and Boat 96.
Engine 91, Boat 95 or Boat 96, confirm response to River Road and Borden Road. Engine 91, Boat 95 or Boat 96, confirm response. Boat 95, Boat 96 or Engine 91, confirm response to River Road and Borden. Boat 95, Boat 96, Engine 91.
95 responding.
Boat 95 responding, operations 88, Alpha 8.
Fire dispatch Engine 91 responding. Unable to locate the vehicle. We're still investigating over here. Be advised, CHP is not on scene. Boat 95, 9100. Have you located it yet? Off of that. We might just be a recovery then.
We will continue looking.
Fire dispatch 9100.
Fire dispatch.
You be able to get some type of recovery team out here? Fire dispatch 9100.
Fire dispatch.
Go ahead and clear the scene. We'll let the sheriff handle it for the rescue team.
Copy 9100, clearing scene, 909F to handle the rescue team.
Fire dispatch 9100.
Fire dispatch.
Be advised also that we unable to locate vehicles and no patients either.
Copy UTL vehicle and patient.
Traffic 1091.
Info only, 909F advised that their Marine Sergeant will be checking in the morning.
Now, we don't have timestamps for the audio dispatch calls, but we can line them up. Stanley calls 911, gets disconnected. Sac Fire calls in that someone informed his unit by word of mouth of a car going into the river. And it's at 10:37 p.m. that dispatch logs no signs of distress. Vehicle is submerged in the water, and if SSO wants to, they can start a dive team, or they can contact their S unit. At 10:43 p.m., SSO has paged the dive team, and they're working with fire to determine what response is needed. They also advise the Coast Guard. At 1:14 a.m., which leads us into September 10th, middle of the night, dive team starts working with the Coast Guard. At 3:55 a.m., September 10th, the dispatch code assigned to this call was changed. Originally, the California Highway Patrol had the code as 1179 traffic collision /1141 en route. That was changed to 1182, which is a traffic collision, but no injury. 1179 is a California Highway Patrol code describing not only what type of accident has occurred, but it also indicates that medical is en route or has been requested. 11:41 indicated the ambulance was on the way.
Before 4 a.m., still without a car found or possible crash victim, the code is changed to 1182. 1182 indicated a traffic collision, property damage only. It would then cancel the request for a medic, 1141, as this code indicated there are no injuries and the only damage is to a vehicle or property. Since there are no actual reported injuries, medical is unneeded, this code indicated a non-injury. Followed by 5:01 a.m. on September 10th, still, quote, per SSO and SFD. Again, that's Sacramento Sheriff and Sacramento Fire. SFD and SSO were going back and forth with who was going to continue the Marine detail, end quote. Now, it's clear at this point that this is a recovery mission, not a rescue mission. Before we move on, we need to dissect a few things. Why was the incident code changed from a traffic collision and needing medical to a collision with just property or car damage? Was the car seen? No, we know it was not found from a visual search. From the land by CHP, it's dark. It's very dark. There are no streetlights or any other lights to illuminate the area. We have eyewitnesses stating exactly where the car went in. The witness states the hazards are on and the car begins to roll from a stop. Why would they assume nobody was in the vehicle? Does law enforcement need to do a visual confirmation of a victim in a crash to justify the 1179 code and to bring out medics? And if this call was taken at 9:45 p.m., why did the code change at 3:55 a.m.? Still, with no medic upon arrival, is it because there was a warning against conditions, which was logged in the dispatch codes? Did the code 1182 move Jeff to the bottom of importance? But if they can justify a code change by what they didn't see, can't they justify moving with urgency based on more of what they do know? An eyewitness reports a vehicle going into the water. Recall dispatch advised that the Marine Sergeant will be checking in the morning. Did this happen? Morning would be September 10th. What were they checking? Because we know dive teams did not go out until September 11th. Of course they can't see anything. The water is murky. You cannot see Jeff in the water without physically diving into the water. Who is the Marine Sergeant? Can we contact them for clarification? We make a note to follow up.
What we want to know is this. Why is the Sacramento Sheriff still trying to coordinate a dive team with sonar for recovery efforts on September 11th, 2023? Why did it take so long to coordinate? Is this all because the code was changed and the urgency was removed from the original data logged? And this leads us to the scene of the incident on September 11th.
Info only, 909 has advised that their Marine Sergeant will be checking in the morning.
Did they actually come to check on September 10th, 2023? We know divers came September 11th, but what happened on September 10th? And who was it who conducted the dive? Helpful information would be this. Was the water rescue team taking calls with higher importance per the codes? Was September 11th the first time recovery was accessible? How can we get logs of other calls for the water recovery team? And did Boat 95 or Boat 96 ever actually show up? Why did it take 7 hours to change the code and call off medics? And does this mean it subsequently canceled boats 95 and 96? Is this common protocol? No. From what we've been able to research, just over 4 days for recovery is not common. We make a note to ask Fire Chief Vince Peters. Upon recording, we've been in correspondence with him in text.
Jules, Monday, March 16th, 2026, 6:17 p.m. Central. Hello, Mr. Peters. I'm an investigative podcaster looking into Jeff Anderson's case, which occurred on 9/9/23. I have records that you were on the scene that evening and would like to ask some clarifying questions to help fill in some holes in our knowledge. Are you open to a phone call? Thank you, Jules Thorpe. Mr. Vince Peters, March 22nd, 2026, 11:58 a.m. Central. Good morning, Jules Thorpe. This is Fire Chief Peters from Cortland Fire District. First of all, I'd like to apologize to you for the late response. I've been kind of busy. I will look into this incident that we had on 9/9/23 and get you the information you need. Jules, March 22nd, 2026, 12:45 p.m. Central. I appreciate the response. Thank you.
We'll update in subsequent episodes if the conversations continue. Above all, we want to learn and be educated about typical protocols, typical response times, and if all the steps taken for Jeff's case fall within those norms. Now, the morning of September 11th, 2023, Jeff Anderson fails to show up for his scheduled work shift. His family files a missing persons report. And then it's on September 11th that a dive team will arrive and find Jeff's car, the windows rolled up, and the water too murky to see to identify if anyone was actually inside the vehicle. The vehicle is tagged and the license plates are submitted to the team to be run for identification help. Neighbors, friends, and some family will gather at the levee as word spreads. Some of Jeff's friends will take their personal boats on the water to try to find Jeff themselves, claiming they found his location from a ping from Jeff's cell phone. We'll talk more on that later. Behind the scenes, Jeff's family and friends are making calls all over the Delta. Fire departments are called and asked about Jeff. Could he have been unidentifiable in an accident or transported to a hospital? It's then that a fire chief calls dispatch and tells them of a possible identity of the white sedan just flagged in the water. A Jeff Anderson from nearby town named Galt was reported missing. Last seen September 9th.
And in another 48 hours, recovery teams will pull Jeff's 2014 white Ford Focus out from the bottom of the Sacramento River, just a mere 500 feet give or take from where his car first entered the water. Why was Jeff left at the bottom of the river from the evening of September 9th through September 13th? Per the dispatch report logged at 11:21 a.m., quote, SSO Detective Keegan, Marina Task Force called about this log. Cortland Fire Department Fire Chief Vince Peters, who was also there that night, also called and was advised by the fire chief of Walnut Grove Fire Department that there was a missing person possibly associated with this traffic collision. Jeff Anderson, last seen driving a white Ford Focus. Detective Keegan with Fire Chief Peters to coordinate statements that SSO would be gathering a boat with sonar and possible dive team, end quote. We will revisit this, but let's read what the witnesses who called 911 on September 9, 2023, told California Highway Patrol. In my hands, right here, I have the official crash report from the California Highway Patrol. The CHP officer, preparer of this report, Carlos Guzman, and the report reviewer, Jeff Lloyd. Now, it should be noted that this document cites it was reviewed on June 20th, 2024, a whopping 40 weeks and 5 days since Jeff's car first went into the water. One thing you may begin to notice throughout this podcast appears to be the lack of urgency. We'll see that soon with the car forensics report timeline as well. Now, this report indicates weather, clear, lighting, dark, no streetlights, roadway surface, dry, and no unusual conditions. Traffic-controlled devices refer to the narrative. Now, if you're unfamiliar with how traffic crash reports look, we'll upload this one to our website, but it's fairly straightforward. The first part has many checklists to mark and go through. Then the officer writes their narrative, and that is in the second part of the report. The narrative is additional information to expand upon. It identifies parties involved and their statements and expands upon the details of the crash. In the narrative, it says, quote, vehicle path impression to dirt, grass, negative grade embankment, approximately 6 feet wide, end quote. There is an attached image that CHP does include in the report, and we'll post that on our website. But it's very important to know, the road was not sloped. There was 0 grade until the car goes off the road. Then it travels down to the water. This is important because per eyewitness statements and dispatch calls, the witness says Jeff's car was stopped and then moved to a slow crawl down the road. The report continues and indicates that there was no other car involved, no pedestrians were involved, and the vehicle's automation was not engaged. Let's break that down a little bit, okay, guys? Vehicle automation engaged means that a co-pilot, adaptive cruise control, or lane steering assist would have been engaged. Jeff's car would not have steering assist, but by checking that box that no automation was engaged, what it does then is claim this, that Jeff was driving the vehicle. Jeff had full control of the steering, the braking, and the acceleration. What we want to know is this. Was this an assumption because the report was written after Jeff's body was recovered, and since he was in the vehicle, he must have been driving it? Even though the eyewitnesses repeatedly state that they did not see anyone in the vehicle. And then we'll read the statements from family and friends who showed up on the scene on September 11th, who talked to the witnesses, and we'll tell you now, their stories are not the same. Let's dive into the first statement from the CHP report. The following is a direct quote from the narrative supplemental report of the CHP report as prepared by Officer Guzman. Only names of the witnesses have been changed.
Witness number 1, Stanley, was interviewed on scene on September 9th, 2024. Stanley verbally identified himself by name and date of birth. He related, in essence, the following. He was driving to his residence. The exact address has been redacted. On River Road when he observed vehicle number 1, a Ford, parked just north of his driveway facing northbound. Stanley noted that he did not see any occupants within or around vehicle number 1, and that was abnormal, so he called 911. After he called 911, he walked back up his driveway and saw vehicle number 1, the Ford, rolling down the embankment, entering the Sacramento River and floating about 50 yards before fully submerging. Now, let's put that into sequence. Stanley alleges he comes home. There's a car without a visible occupant parked at the entrance of his driveway. He says it's odd, so he calls 911. Can we say that it's odd because he seldom sees cars pulled over there? Or does he call 911 every time there's a parked or pulled over car in that area? The words, he walked back up his driveway, indicates he drove down to his house, parked, called 911, then walked up his driveway on foot to the unknown parked white car. He tells Officer Guzman the evening of September 9th, 2023, that he called 911 after he saw the car rolling. Now, this is important to note, so let's put a pin in that, and we'll be revisiting this many times throughout the podcast. Another California Highway Patrol officer, Officer J. Lloyd, conducts a second interview of witness number 1, Stanley. But this time, it is 11 weeks and 4 days after the first interview. On November 29th, 2023, Officer Lloyd calls witness number 1, Stanley, on the telephone. The following is Mr. Stanley's recollection per Officer Lloyd's interview. Again, 11 and a half weeks after his initial interview. He related the following. On the evening of the crash, he was driving southbound on River Road, approaching his residence with his partner, witness number 3. There was a curve approximately 0.5 miles south of his residence, where motorists often pull over to rest or make phone calls. Stanley observed vehicle number 1 on the right shoulder near the turnout. Headlamps were illuminated. As witness number 1, Stanley, approached vehicle number 1, he noticed it was stopped on the right shoulder with its right tires in the ivy and the left tires still in the lane. Stanley slowed approximately 5 miles per hour while passing, but noted there were not lights illuminating vehicle number 1's interior and he couldn't see any occupants. He thought the vehicle may be abandoned. Stanley continued past vehicle number 1 and drove down his driveway to his residence, which is a small hill, approximately 100 to 150 feet from the roadway. Stanley maintained his visual of vehicle number 1, noting it had not moved. Stanley calls 911 to report vehicle number 1, as he thought it was a little strange, but the call gets disconnected. Stanley began walking up towards the vehicle with a high-powered flashlight. The vehicle started rolling forward and then went to the left. Stanley observed the taillights of the vehicle and then heard a clunk, clunk, clunk as the vehicle crashed and then went into the river. Stanley then recalled 911 and ran up to the levee. Stanley follows the vehicle down the river and yells at the vehicle, trying to gain the attention of any occupants, if there were in fact any. Stanley noted it was very quiet at his residence, and during this entire time, he heard no sounds of any people running, talking, closing doors, or any other vehicles. He also notes that he observed no persons blocking or obscuring his view of the vehicle's tail lamps, which led him to believe no one pushed the vehicle over the edge. Stanley used his high-powered flashlight to search the abandoned warehouse just south of his residence. He also searched the surrounding areas, the yard and tree fort in his residence, and the hill leading to it, as well as the levee for any persons possibly involved with the vehicle. Stanley was rather certain there were no other persons involved in the incident he observed, no strange footprints or trampling of the ivy. And now we fast forward to June 12, 2024, when 39 weeks and 4 days after the date of the incident, Officer Lloyd again calls Stanley. On June 12, 2024, at approximately 14:38 hours, Officer J. Lloyd spoke with Stanley again. Stanley added his original statement was accurate and reiterated there were no other vehicles or persons near Vehicle 1 on the night of the crash.
Before we tell you why Officer Lloyd approached witness number 1 2 additional times after September 9, 2023 about his statement, we need to bring in witness number 3, Jessica. Jessica was interviewed in person on September 13th, 2023. We would like to know why Jessica was not also interviewed on September 9th, the evening of the 911 call, as Jessica was in the car with witness number 1. Why did Officer Lloyd wait until the day of Jeff's recovery from the bottom of the river to interview her? Why didn't Officer Guzman interview her initially September 9th, especially since she's mentioned in witness number 1's account of the events? Officer Lloyd reported,
Jessica related in essence the following. On September 9th, 2023, between 21:40 and 21:50 hours, she was traveling southbound on SR 160. Approximately 1 mile north of her residence with witness 1, Stanley, who was driving. As they came around a bend in the road, she observed a vehicle, later determined to be vehicle number 1, the Ford, stopped at the right shoulder on northbound River Road near her residence. In that area, she's used to seeing vehicles stopped because there's a wide turnout just south of her residence. As they approached Vehicle 1, she saw that it was stopped on the right shoulder, just north of her driveway, straddling the ivy. As they passed the vehicle, there were no lights illuminating the interior, and she couldn't see the occupants. Stanley and Jessica grabbed flashlights. Stanley calls 911 to report the vehicle as they thought it may have been a ditched, stolen vehicle. While Stanley was attempting to get a hold of 911, the original call that gets disconnected, Jessica observes Vehicle 1 suddenly drive forward. A moment later, she hears Vehicle 1 crashing in the rocks along the edge of the Sacramento River. Jessica advises Stanley to call 911 again, while she ran up to the levee and called her dad, who worked with the local volunteer fire department. Jessica estimated it took her approximately 15 to 20 seconds to make it to the levee, where she then saw the vehicle in the river and floating south. Jessica and Stanley illuminated the vehicle with their flashlights and yelled for any persons in it. They followed the vehicle as it floated downstream for approximately 3 minutes. At no time during the 3 minutes did Jessica hear any persons or observe any movement with the vehicle. Jessica noted it was really quiet and calm that night, and she didn't hear any other sounds in the surrounding area that would make her believe there was another person or vehicle in the area. And then, just like Officer Lloyd did with Stanley, he followed up one final time with Jessica. And again, this is in June of 2024, months after she gave her first statement on September 13th, 2023. On June 12th, 2024, at approximately 13:39 hours, Officer J. Lloyd spoke with witness number 2 again. Witness number 2 added her original statement was accurate, and she reiterated there were no other vehicles or persons near Vehicle 1 on the night of the crash.
We know Officer Lloyd was the reviewer of this report. However, he missed his own error. Witness number 2 was not Jessica. Jessica was witness number 3. So who was witness number 2? Jeff Anderson's father. Was he there that evening of September 9th? No. Did he witness his son going into the Sacramento River? No. So why was he entered into the report as a witness? Well, we believe it's because when Jeff didn't show up to work on September 11th, the family knew something was gravely wrong. Jeff simply did not miss work, and he simply did not cease communication with his family. Officer Lloyd interviewed Jeff's father on September 13th, 2023, the same day that Jeff's car and body was being recovered from the bottom of the Sacramento River. So no, Jeff's father did not see Jeff go into the water on September 9th, 2023. What Jeff's father saw is what no father should ever see, and that's Jeff's body being removed from the bottom of the Sacramento River on September 13th, 2023. Jeff's father was there September 13th watching what everyone now knew was going to be his son's vehicle dragged out of the river, and then he had to watch as his son was removed from the car. The same day, Jeff's father would be escorted over where his son's body would be, and the same day he would be asked to visually identify his only son. We'll share more about what Jeff's father saw, reported, and recalls in the next episodes. But first, we need to know this. Was law enforcement ever on the scene on September 9th, 2023? Or was it just the fire department? And those who did go, was it just the relatives of Jessica? And if California Highway Patrol did not come out, just exactly how did Officer Guzman take Stanley's statement? We actually do believe that Officer Guzman did come out, but for how long and whoever else came out, that is unknown to us. From the incident report, Officer Guzman states, quote,
On September 9th, 2023, at approximately 21:47 hours, I was dispatched to a call of a vehicle located in the Sacramento River. I responded from the California Highway Patrol South Sacramento area office and arrived on scene at approximately 22:21 hours. Upon my arrival, fire personnel advised me they were unable to locate vehicle number 1, the Ford. Vehicle number 1 was ultimately located on September 13th, 2023, submerged in the Sacramento River, and the crash was determined to be a solo vehicle crash, which resulted in fatal injuries.
They were unable to locate the vehicle because nobody was on the water. Of course, the vehicle is now sitting on the bottom of the Sacramento River. The entry point was verified by an eyewitness, confirmation that the car's headlights were on. Nobody was allegedly around. The night was quiet. How did they figure the car rolled into the water and rolled from a complete stop? Without any visual confirmation, anybody was in front of the vehicle. How long was Officer Guzman on the scene, and is that time frame protocol? The first statement was taken from Stanley on September 9, 2023. It's extremely short. It's a very short statement, nothing like the very detailed and relayed play-by-play of the September 12th statement the next officer took from Stanley via the phone. Why wasn't anybody at the water on September 10th? Where was everybody? Recall the dispatch audio from September 9, 2023.
Traffic 1091 unit.
Info only, 909 has advised that their Marine sergeant will be checking in the morning.
There is no documentation that any single law enforcement or fire personnel went to the river on September 10th, 2023. Why did Jeff's car go into the water on September 9th, and it wasn't until September 11th that a dive team would come out, find Jeff's car, retrieve the license plate, and flag it with a buoy? And then that same morning on September 11th, Jeff's family would file a police report connecting the dots to the overheard scanner crash report and Jeff's disappearance.
But what police scanner?
When Jeff's family and friends frantically search for Jeff, a rumor begins to spread that a mother of one of the bars Jeff was at on September 9th heard on a police scanner that a white sedan went into the water that evening. Now recall, this is a very small and tight-knit community with deep family roots, so word travels quickly. Is this rumor true? Well, we don't know, but what we do know is this. An alleged friend of Jeff's took his own boat and used his own sonar equipment to search for Jeff's car himself on September 11th. We reached out to him, and we did receive a response.
August 22nd, 2025, 2:38 p.m. Central, Jules. Hi, Mr. Name Redacted. This is the producer working alongside the Anderson family on Jeff's story, and I was hoping I could ask you to consider chatting. I've been told you and Jeff were very close, and also you went to search for him yourself. I'd like to include that in the podcast as it helps show Jeff's friendships. August 22nd, 2025, 4:50 p.m. Central, Mr. Name Redacted. Yes, that's fine. I was good friends with Jeff, and I saw him almost every day because he worked the mosquito company and was always out here on the dairy to spray and come BS with me and my dad. Jules. So sorry for your loss of Jeff. Thank you. Is there a time Thursday we can do your interview? I send a link to the video recording, but I only use audio. You just need headphones and a quiet, non-echoey place to chat. August 30th, 2025, 11:34 a.m. Central. Jules. Hey, Name Redacted. Can we meet tomorrow or Monday? I use StreamYard like Zoom. March 21st, 2026, 5:16 p.m. Central. Jules. Hey, Name Redacted. One last attempt to connect with you. We would love to hear about your experience searching for Jeff yourself and how you knew to look for him there. There's a hole in the story you can help us fill. Thank you. And as of publishing date, we have yet to hear back. Of course, I also made a novice mistake. I first used the word chat, then I referred to it as an interview. Did I spook him? And if so, why? Or does he simply wish to not relive the traumatic event, which we do respect, but once someone agrees to talk, we like to be thorough and follow up. However, we will not attempt to contact this individual again. We heard him as loud as the quiet in the non-response could be.
Once Jeff missed work on the morning of September 11th, 2023, a whirlwind of events would begin to unfold. And in true Delta fashion, the news spread quickly. Jeff's family files the missing persons report for him. Jeff's lifelong friends and neighbors, brothers Carl and Jason, leap into action to help Jeff's family. Familiar with fire departments as they come from a fire family, they know how to pick up the phone and call firehouses directly. After speaking with the Walnut Grove fire chief about a missing person and inquiring if there were any reports of any accidents, the chief informs Jeff's neighbor that he then had to hang up and call the sheriff now. This call is referenced in the dispatch notes as being logged on September 11th, 2023 at 11:21 a.m. We know from the dispatch logs that the Sacramento Sheriff and the Sacramento Fire Department were going back and forth with who was going to continue the Marine detail. Jurisdiction confusion is nothing new to this area. Tiny jurisdictions exist in such small spaces. Could it have been this confusion and lack of a clear leader that caused Jeff to sit at the bottom of the river for 4 days? Did the other agency think the other would handle it?
When Jeff's friends and family arrive on the scene September 11th, the eyewitnesses walk across the street from their home and greet the spectators, and it's then, according to signed statements we have acquired, that witness number 1, Stanley, begins to tell the gathering group of concerned family and friends the first of many different versions of what happened 2 evenings prior on September 9th, 2023. You're going to want to hear this next time on Secrets Beyond the Sacramento River.
Boat 95, Boat 96, or Engine 91, confirm response to River Road and Borden.
Do you have an incident description or an updated location as to where we should be heading?
You'd be able to get some type of recovery team out here. Go ahead, clear the scene, and let the sheriff handle it for the rescue team.
Copy 9100, clearing scene, 909S to handle the rescue team. Info only, 909S advised that their Marine sergeant will be checking in the morning.
Be advised also that we unable to locate vehicles and no patient either.
Secrets Beyond the Sacramento River is produced by Fire Eyes Media LLC co-founders Jen Rivera and Jules Thorpe. Jules Thorpe was lead investigator. Script was written by Jules Thorpe. Jen Rivera was master editor and master audio engineer. Your hosts are Jen Rivera and Jules Thorpe. Fire Eyes Media.